the lasagna that I'm making, a different one. I'm going to take these bones out. For you, it would be the neck bones. And I'm going to cut the meat off of these bones, and I'm going as soon as it cools. I have the water on for the pasta. We need 2 pounds of lasagna. You need a 15 by 10. I could not find a 15 by 10, so I got a 14 by 10 baking dish. Okay. So we have the meat sauce here. Your ricotta cheese has been draining for hours now. We have to wait for this meat to cool. And you're going to need a pound of mozzarella, grated. I've already grated mine. And you're going to need Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. I think I pronounced that correctly. And that's where we're at now. I'm waiting for this to cool because it's too hot. Let's see if I can get a knife and cut it off. I might not be able to, but we'll try. Let's see, I have a paring knife here. Yeah. Little knife should do this. It doesn't make sense to waste this food. Hi, Zelda. Void, Richie. So good morning to all of you again. It's just that I don't want to waste this meat. I'm just, yeah, and the bones, what will I do with the bones? I'm going to put them into bones that I collect. And I'm going to cook them down too. So I'm not going to be throwing the bones out. I'm going to be putting them to work as well. You know, I do much better with my hands. Right, Sandy, wear this and you're going to do that. Yeah, I know. No reason to waste the bones. You make bone broth and prevent arthritis. You have to admit that is a good thing. Can't say it's a bad thing. Now, if you like, you can add salt to your water and olive oil to boil your pasta. We're going to have to do a little bit at a time and then cool them down right away to keep them from continually cooking. You're not going to get them all in at the same time into a pot. Okay, I've got that. I'm not going to waste it. I don't need this. Oh yeah, I remember what this was. all the bones of different meats together except for the fish. If I collect fish bones, I'll collect it with fish heads, and then I make my own fish sauce with that. And the flavors will all mingle. Come out something. Good morning, Edward, Gloria, Patty again, Artie. Okay. And remember, I did not use beef in this one with the pork. I used lamb and added lecithin and drained as much fat as I can off, and then I added the lecithin to it. And instead of using wine, I used bone broth. And instead of throwing the meat out, I'm going to sit there and use cut the meat off, throw it in, and on top of that, I'm going to sit there and use the bones and make a bone broth when I get a bag full. So there is actually no waste in that. Now this meal feeds about 15 people. We get to take a break right now. I'm going to be careful to make sure you don't run out. I'd use a no stick for this one. The biggest one I could find is 14 by 10. I am on the outs. I'm in New York State on the very out. I am so far on the outskirts. It takes me an hour and a half to get into the city. Okay, so I'm way out there. Yeah, the sun's coming up now. We have to wait for that. Now, when we layer this out, we are going to be layering it different than what you normally do for a lasagna. And this one's called an Italian-American lasagna, a combination of two. And the meat sauce we use, which I changed around, is called the Italian-American meat sauce. So because I couldn't find any more beef in the refrigerator, I'll have to buy 4 or 5 pounds and put it up so I can sit there and do this. Now, somebody asked me to do Frank's. I am thinking about, I have barbecue sauce, and they want to know how to do Frank's properly. A lot of people like to grill them and they burn them. Frank's are very salty, so I don't like. Yes, I am, King. That's exactly what I'm doing. Hi, Kamara, Artie. Yeah, I stay away. Though the city still affects me in some areas. I'm way out here, and with what's going on, I can't believe it. Where was I? Oh, I forgot. It's so hot. No, anyway, so I've changed it around this recipe. I did not use wine, I used bone broth, and instead of beef, I sat there and I used lamb, poured the excess off, which I have to do. And that's how I'm changing it around. That's what I have to do to make things work, and if it comes out, it'll be a new way. Oh yeah, I did the crepe lasagna, but not with, should we try making crepe lasagna filled with spinach and herbs? Doesn't that sound good? Yeah, I know how to do crepes now. I'm not good at it, but I know how to do it. I don't know if I can get that. Huh, I'd be lucky if I get that. Hi, Shet. Okay, we're just waiting for that to boil. I have the temperature as high as it can go. They're not as high as they used to be when I was growing up. We could really get it high. Now they're doing so much controlling because people don't know what they're doing in the kitchen. The only place that people I know that cook with the flames going over the edge are probably chefs and Asian food. They really, have you seen those flames on them and how they cook? Oh my God. I'd be terrified. Believe you me, I wouldn't want to cook. So this is going to be different done differently when we go to layer it out. We're going to be covering it. So we have to wait. It's been on for a while. We can only cook so much at a time. So we're going to be putting them in cold water after we cook them exactly 10 minutes. We're only going to cook them 10 minutes, the pasta. I might do 8 in boiling water, but we have to throw them in cold water. If you don't throw them in cold water, they're going to stick, so this is very important. Yeah, you have to stay away from the area. I'd ask you guys what you think of certain things, but I could almost hear people get angry. But I had a nightmare. I woke up, I think 3 o'clock, 3:05 yesterday, and I sat up in bed and I was in total shock. I said, I can't do this. No, this can't be done. This can't happen. And I know it's going to happen. I don't know when, but I know it's going to happen. And then one of my sons wakes up and says, I had a nightmare. I said, he told me, and I said, that's exactly what I saw. We both saw the same thing yesterday morning. We got up, and I wasn't happy with what I saw, but I can't change it. I can't undo it. I just add it up to one more thing that I know that's going to happen. Now, I'm going to say stuff that, it's not political. I'm going to be talking prophecy. It's been prophesized, I think in the 1940s. Let's see, Casey died before I came up. Oh, before 1940s, because he died right before I was born. So it was before 1940s. He had prophesied, and he had it in a vision, or if you want to call it in a reading, that Wall Street, the financial district, was going to leave New York City, and I know where they're headed. And people say, no, that will never happen. But businesses have already, oh, you saw it, okay. So, with what's happening, big businesses that makes and brings millions and jobs into the city, as well as millions of dollars, have contracts that managers, upper officials and all, if the company moves, they have to move with them. These people live in the area as well, so they're going to be apartments, and what they pay for rent and all are going to leave. The business is going to take all of their money, and they're leaving. So that means a lot of people are going to be unemployed. There'll be a lot of housing and incomes, and the budget is going to be less balanced. And because it's going to be less balanced, not that it's ever been balanced, the thing is that's going to be revenue that's not coming in. Now, that is a socialist thing. They want to drag all the big businesses down. Now, without that money, I mean, you think about it. I'm going to use a simple thing, the buses. A lot of people take buses and trains. Now, what's going to happen is he wants to tax homeowners and the people who stay, people like me. He wants to raise our taxes way up. Now, to get money, because he needs money to sit there and run the trains, because if MTA workers and the people who repair the trains and the buses go on strike because they're not going to be paid, because the businesses are leaving, there goes the money. So there's not going to be any money for them to get their increases and stuff. And he's going to run to the federal government to bail him out. But it's his policies that are doing this. Thank God I didn't vote for that idiot. He doesn't know how to balance a book. If something is free, somebody has to pay for it. So that means workers have to be taxed more so he can get the money to give to the poor. So this is what he's doing. He's taking money that you work hard for, and he's going to give it to them. You're going to pay for them to ride the buses. you're going to pay for this and you're going to pay for that for them to have free. They should be getting a job. They should be making their own money, but they think that they're smart enough, though, in talking and doing what they do, that they have a right to a high position. Build a business from ground level, then you can sit there and do what you want. But the thing is he's dragging this city down, and this was prophesized. And because there won't be any money, because of the businesses leaving, the roads are not going to be fixed. Sanitation does not pick up all the sanitation every day the way they're supposed to. They leave stuff behind. This is what's been going on. And it's only a short time that he has been in office. And this is dangerous. As much as people don't like what I'm saying, I'm bringing it to your attention of what's happening. I might have to leave. I don't know yet. And and now they're finding out that he did not get all the votes that he got. There were a lot of illegal. The people were not registered with Social Security. These people don't even exist or anything else. So we have somebody who doesn't belong in office. And I don't know what's going to happen. But they said, woe is to the great whore, New York City. Everybody says New York City is the great whore. Well, she's the apple of America. I mean, she's always been the apple of America. And if she becomes the great whore, that says a lot about the state of this government, especially metropolitan area. And the prayers that they say that you do not understand the language of is death to Americans and death to America. And kill Americans, though you don't understand the language, so you don't know what they're praying. But if you listen to the prayers and you understood their language, you would know what they're really saying. Hi, Jason from Wisconsin. So, prophecy of Wall Street leaving, I can see them leaving. The wealthy families are leaving. I can see them leaving. If I leave the metropolitan area, I don't know what state I'm going to be going to. But maybe I'll die before then. I don't know. But anyway, it's happening. And a lot of the young people have been very carefully taught from a young age about communism and socialism, Marxism, and how good it is. And yet not one of those has ever allowed people to be free and to be entrepreneurs and build their businesses and stuff. And I remember when this happened in the 1970s, because my husband, he came out of the war, Vietnam, and he went to college. Now, he was supposed to be at a much higher grade, but they put him back at high school level, like first year college. And my husband looked and said, really? What they wanted to do, the city wanted to milk the money from the veterans instead of them getting higher up so they could keep the money localized. And he said all of his teachers did not speak English. And it was, if he didn't speak as many languages as he did, he would not understand them. And I said, why would they bring foreigners to teach our children American ways and American patriotism and everything else? And I thought about it and thought about it. And I said, that goes back to Jane Fonda. The women, the only place that they could sit there and get a job in a business, if it wasn't secretary or something like that, they could move up the ladder, was in the Board of Ed. So they had their union. It was all women, basically, at the younger age. And then you had the men in junior high when the hormones started cooking in. And I said, the women left, and America became short on American teachers because they said no, they wanted to go up the corporate ladder, they wanted to make more money, they wanted to make a name for themselves and everything else. And so America had to go overseas to find teachers. Now, I'm raised as an American, okay? If I had to teach socialism, I could not teach it because I don't know it. Could I teach Marxism? No, because I wasn't raised that way. I was raised as an American with a lot of freedoms. So I can talk about a constitutional republic, up one and down the other, the freedoms that we have and everything else. But I cannot teach except what the book reads: Marxism, communism, socialism. Oh heck, I don't want any of that. Okay, so I couldn't teach. But if I went to another country, the thing that I could teach them would be what I know: freedom of, as an individual, freedom of America to go where you want. You didn't need passports, IDs, and stuff. You were allowed to be and create your own business. Now that I can talk about because that's what I know. So when the women left and we pulled these foreigners in, they can only teach what they know. And this is where we've lost our younger generations, and they think socialism because they can get things free and everything else. It doesn't work like that. You won't. Sana, no, I do not have to allow you to see what's outside. This is my home, my choice. You like it or not. So I'm talking that I could not teach. And Americans have to get back into teaching their children. I've seen all of this in my lifetime. I've seen where we had a society that was stable. I mean, you think it's cruel. All right, I didn't. If there was lynching in Texas, where I grew up, let's say I never saw it, so I cannot make an association that race that was there. But I did come through to this earth without racism, because I don't believe in it. So it was my person. Though my father could be a racist, my brothers, everybody could be racist. This little girl couldn't be racist because I came through that way. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in racism. I can see people saying I dislike you for some reason or something. Yeah, that makes sense. So I never saw somebody lynched, okay? But we were taught in school how things used to be. We learned. We learned that there was lynching. We also learned, how the law worked and stuff like that. So you could say I was ahead of myself, ahead of everybody else, because the white girls stayed with whites, and the Spanish stayed with Spanish, the blacks stayed with the blacks. For me, I didn't care. I get along with people. I try to get along with everybody that I can, though we have disagreements and stuff. But I lived at a time where, the blacks were on that side of the track, the Spanish were on that side, and the whites were in the middle, so those two couldn't get together. Okay, sure, but I crossed the line. This girl crosses the line, okay? And, but there was a family structure. We respected all the adults. We weren't left to our demise, though. A lot of them say, we could do what we want. We had to be in by dusk. There were mothers home that had eyes like this. Your mother might not be watching you, but mothers talk to each other. Parents talk. Men are at work, and they see children in the street. They know who their mothers are. So you were being watched. You just felt the freedom of it and thought. There was more structure, family structure. There was more respect. There was more. Everybody knew their place. I couldn't call myself an American until I became an adult. My parents were very quick to say, "You're our daughter." So I was Baker's daughter. I was my mother's daughter, but I couldn't. I'm my brother's older sister, or if it was my older brother, I'd say I was my brother's younger sister, because I was born in the middle between two boys. But there was a structure. Everybody knew their place. And I have watched in my 73 years. I want to say that, oh yeah, I agree, Edward. Yeah, I'm good today. Ziyu, I think. So there was a structure, and in my 73 years and going, society has totally flipped crazy, backwards, and everything else, and tumbling down. And I say, is my country falling? And I question my country. I love my country very much. I said, I was taught. I mean, if I see ICE out there arresting somebody, I'm not pulling my phone out. I am going to stay out of their way, because when I was growing up, if you got between the law and what they had to do, you could get shot, killed, and they get away with it because you interfered with the law. I wouldn't talk. One time I talked back. All right, as a stupid teenager, yeah, I had a bad day. I was talking back at the sheriff, and he threw me in the back of his car, pulled up in front of the jail, and said, "I could put you in there." Man, I straightened up so fast. The thing is it's bad. Things are not well. Fathers are not there, and men are weak. And that's a terrible thing to say, because men used to be very strong. They knew their position, but without that father image there to give them the guidance that they need, I have to say these boys are growing up floundering like a fish out of water, trying to get their bearings. They know they have to work and get a job. Women are murdering babies left and right. We have enough contraceptives. If you wish to have sex, have at it all you want. But there are condoms, there are birth controls, there's diaphragms, there's IUD. Is it IUD or DU? I don't know what it is, but something. But there are things that prevent you from getting pregnant. So there's no reason for an abortion unless you're raped, the mother's life is in danger, or incest. Those are the only three reasons where I could see an abortion. It's just, women don't respect their bodies anymore. The preacher said it. I love this preacher. He's so good. He said, "You women, you put stuff on your eyes. You sit there and you build these up and you put stuff in your," he said, "ass." When you get to talking, I was laughing. And I said, yeah, women don't respect their bodies. Okay, time to put the pasta on. A lot of things like this have been going on in my lifetime. Yes, if society breaks down, we will lose our constitutional republic. We will lose our freedoms, and we have to. Now, there is a law. I love Eisenhower for this. I think it was Eisenhower who wrote it. If you're a communist, that you can't, even if you're an American and you're a communist, you could be put out of this country. I love him. Such a smart man. And Congress wrote it. It's in law. I'm waiting for Trump to do that. Now, Marxism and socialism is communism. Just a fancier name, but it's all communism. So all those Democrats that are walking around with socialist cards, hello? You're a commie. Even if you're born an American, you can lose your citizenship and be thrown out of the country. What did I do with all my spoons? Okay, I'll take this one. No, don't fall in the sink. No. So you can lose a lot of your freedoms and stuff. So I think they ought to be thrown out. Not just the illegals. I think the Republican Party should go after the socialists. And having people that are not Americans, born and raised, should not be in Congress, should not be in any part of the federal government, or anything else. And I think Americans that defend the foreigners and everything else, I think they should be thrown out. I think they should be thrown out of the country. I'm sorry. You're not an American. You don't believe in the country. You hate this country so much? Leave. Pack your bags. Leave. But you're not taking your bank accounts or your money. You're not going to give it to another country to come after us, because you've already done that. You've already stolen from the American people enough now at this point. We don't have any money. I also think Obama, because he really wasn't born in Hawaii, I think he ought to lose presidential rights and everything, and I think he should be deported because he lied. Personally, I want a public hanging with him. Okay, that's the first one. It's boiling. We'll time it 8 minutes. That'll be 56. Come on, 8 to 10 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Good morning. Okay. Yeah. Edward, there's no reason for you to say that, to call somebody an idiot. Come on now. We stop the name calling. If they disagree, you know, if you don't like what I say, please leave. But these are things I've seen in my lifetime. And I have not been carefully taught. I don't even want to watch the news anymore. I'm sick of them. You know, the lies. Oh, Edward, it's okay. I've always been a patriot. I told you, the one time I disagreed with the government was our boys going to Vietnam. Why aren't they here defending us? I mean, why doesn't the president call out for patriots to start helping ICE? I mean, patriots. I mean, look, they all know how to shoot. And they could tell you who's who. I mean, you don't have to look at the bank there. They'll know. I think you should, the president should call patriots to arms to help the ICE. I really do. I think he could get more people out that way. And I'm not sure if that's on the books. If anybody knows, let me know. Or look it up for me. Can the president call the patriots, which are the American men, and bring them up? You know? I want them out. I want the foreigners out. I want to be able to hear English. I don't want to hear a teacher that can't speak and understand the English language and will sit there and do a pledge to a fucking rainbow flag instead and teaching them Islam when it's not none of that. No. No, no, no. See, a patriot, and we pray to God. This country was based on it. People are turning their face away from God. God will definitely bring this country down. So we have to be on our toes. I mean, do I go to church? No. But he hears my mouth every day. Okay? I mean, I woke up and I told him good morning this morning, and I thanked him for the breath of life. And I thanked him for teaching me how to cook so I could share the wisdom that he's given me that I can share with you. Hi, Isaiah. Looking good. This is just 1 pound. We'll spoon it out. I don't know how I'm going to get it out. And we'll put the second set in. Now, I put vegetable stock and whey into this water. More nutritious. I tell you, I always go in that direction. Well, we'll see what we can do about it. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm just keeping it from sticking. That's why I'm stirring it. And then we'll get the second pound in. And then we'll keep on moving forward. Good morning, Isaiah. So I've seen a lot, and I have to see it in my time. And I think that's the part that really drives me crazy. And what's worse is ministers don't believe in God. They preach it, but they don't believe it. That's bad. I mean, we had a thing set in the house. 3 tries. And on the third one, you get whipped. When they do a mistake, we say, that's the Father. Second one, that's the Son. The Holy Ghost, you're getting whipped. So our sons knew the 3. And they also knew that if we said their first, middle, and last name, they were in trouble. If my mother called me and said Sandra Lee, all right, the whole world's going to end. You know, I knew it because I knew what was coming down. I didn't want to know, but I was going to know. Let's get this over here. It's in my way right now. Look at cool over there. I don't even know if they teach government anymore for seniors. You know? And the worst thing they could have done, and I really mean it, is make divorce easy and BCW. Government should have stayed out of the family, but the woman called them in. If you can't pick a good person, you've got a problem. I picked two good men. They were responsible men. They knew what they had to do. I knew what I had to do. So it turned out very well. Almost. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but this is what we have to do. Hi, Mr. Dunham. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. God, it feels like there's no heat. I mean, no air conditioning or cooling system. There is so much heat in this kitchen. Later today, for those of you that have joined, you will be hearing what we're going to be making. I got 2 new books. I found this recipe. Oh my God, I have not been able to find this recipe. It was very popular. Everybody was eating it in the late 60s, early 70s, and it just sort of left. And I finally got the recipe out of this book. And my son said, why are you getting that cookbook? You're not going to. I said, I really want this cookbook. I knew there was something in there. And when he looked at it this morning, he said, oh, these dishes look good. I said, oh, really? He said, Mommy, you need another bookshelf. I said, did you notice? I have a bookshelf about a foot and a half. No, about a yard and a half tall. It's packed, and I got books stacked on their sides like this on it. Have another bookshelf in the computer room, and I'm already throwing books up there because I don't have any room. Because that one's loaded with crafting books. All kinds of things. So if I don't know how to do it, I can look it up. So, and then I design, looking at that, it gives me ideas and things I want to do, and I get it done. 2 minutes of these will be done, and we'll get them out. I am Anglican, Church of England. In other words, better known as an Episcopalian. Whereas the church says you pray there, the Anglicans say, this is where we talk with God in our body. This is our temple. This is. Church is so rigid, like God is rigid. You've got to get up, you've got to sit down and stuff. Me, he tells us to enjoy the good earth. You know, he does give us rules that we obey. Sandy, it's low. Mine's as high as it can go. There's nothing more I can do about that. I know you guys are going to fall try to get you all out of here and put you in cold water. Yes. Oh, yes, we do this. Jesus Christ, that's hot. Yeah, I said it. Okay, come on. I gotta get you underneath this thing or you're not gonna go. Okay, there's one more in here. That's hot. God, my fingers hurt on that one. I might have blisters on the tips of my finger. That's really was hot. Did any of you see Citizen Vigilante? I love that movie. I think it's what, $6 to see, $5.99 to see. It's well worth it. It's speaking a lot of how people are feeling. Not the ones that are criminals and getting away with it and breaking the law and everything. I saw a video. ICE went after somebody. They're illegal. They said it's a school. It's outside in the schoolyard. You can't do that. They can do it. They're the federal government. Where do you don't know your laws? You know? The politicians thought they could get away with it, with doing, oh, heaven knows what. Somebody that I am Facebook friends with, I just found this station and, well, channel, I should say, and I watch it. And I am shocked at the stuff that I learn. But I remember in government we were taught, if you're a communist, you lose your citizenship and you're thrown out of this country, or they can shoot you. And I heard the military, for treason, they're shooting at a firing squad, which I think is great. For treason, I think it's 4 or 5 that did it, and they gave secrets of stuff away. I think it should go for everybody. The women are screaming. I said, see, that's why you don't need to vote. Okay, come on, you gotta boil or you're gonna stick together. Okay, 8, that'll be 10 after. But you do what you have to do. I have 8 minutes. A little bit, I'm gonna have to charge you. Okay, Doom. I already did that. I already burnt myself. I'll just put you in the pan. You're sitting in the pan that I'm going to be using. Oh, God. Should get you out of it. Let's put you up here. It's cool with it. So, once this is done, that pasta will go ahead and get some. Mr. Dunham. No, I was listening, and this person was talking about. Now, I haven't read all of what is it? Who I'm reading the prophecy? Not Jonah. Who is it? Well, anyway, I'm reading it, the Ethiopian Bible, and he's talking about some things. This guy says, if you look, I had said, well, I haven't gotten into that chapter yet. I'm still working on it, you know. But I said, where did he come up with this? I said, okay. I'm like, somebody I listened to is doing that. Now they're finding stones. Now you know about Sodom and Gomorrah. Just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Now she turned to stone because she looked back. They're finding stones that show similar shapes of snakes and prehistoric animals. And I'm wondering, just wondering, are these real? In other words, they weren't carved, but maybe the bodies turned to stone because of something. Okay, Mr. Dunham, that's all right. Enoch. I'm reading Enoch. I have to remember what I'm doing. I can't read it every day. It's so heavy, but I do love reading when he was talking about the valleys and everything else and the pillars. I didn't like the part when I was reading Hell. I said, oh, as I was reading Hell, I said, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, and I'm saying, why are you saying that? It was just so horrible. And I can just picture even further into it. And it bothered me. Really bothered me. I'm talking about a lot of things. You're probably saying, she's not staying on track, is she? Yeah, I can. Hi, life. Thank you. So, anyway, that's a lot to think about. I know it is. I'm not going to disagree. Well, in 5 minutes, we're going to start putting this dish together. Yes, I know you said hi, life. Yeah, it is over. I'll show you. I have the small print. I couldn't afford the big book, but I really wanted to get the big one. Yes, they were. The Bible that we have only has 88 books. 88 books. But the Ethiopian Bible has 113 books of the Bible. This is only one of the two books because it's in really small print. You can see it's in really small print. But I wanted the big print, and I'm reading this. They say it was an apple. It wasn't an apple that we sinned. It was Adam didn't keep his woman in line. A simple is the watchers were a set of angels. I saw the women of earth, and they said that they were beautiful. And not the women we know of today. They didn't have makeup. It said they had a beautiful beauty natural. And the angels had made a pact on a mountain. And what they did, they decided they were going to take wives. I can see why God said, Adam, what did you do? In other words, the men did not keep their women in line. Well, anyway, these angels took the women, and they had children, and they were known as the Ephraim. They were giants. I mean, we look like grasshoppers, all right? Does that give you how big they are? They're really, really big. And they devoured the earth. They were, the food and stuff they were eating, and then they started eating the animals, they were eating everything, and then they came to a point where they were eating man. And the crying's out, so God fixed that. He told them that, you know, he's going to take their Nephilims and all, he's going to destroy them. He flooded the earth. And they say the Nephilims are still around. I don't know where, but that's the sin. And that's why God looked at Adam. You didn't keep your women in line. Women were running amok. Have you heard what the police, or they pull them over for a ticket, what these women are doing? And I'm watching them because they're camcorders on the shoulders. I'm listening to this and I said, oh. So woman was the downfall because, and these angels taught us about weapons to kill each other and how to kill the animals so they could eat. And the Nephilims actually came to the point of eating humans. And what happened in Afghanistan recently, a couple of years back, when a soldier who talked, and he said he was over 15 feet tall. He had 6 toes and 6 fingers. And he said he just scared them. He had a spear and he just killed them like that. They had to reevaluate the way they were trained. The commander told him to, well, I'm not going to tell you what he said, but he told him what to do. And the government has this giant. So the Nephilims are still alive. They might be hiding, but they are a danger to us when you think about it. Now I remember before all this was missing, that we saw pictures and stuff of giant skeletons. So I wanted to go and see these giant skeletons, but in Viva they don't have these things, so I had to wait till I grew up. But by then they were all removed and denied. But the old pictures talk about skeletons 15, 20 feet tall. So when you think of that, and you're up against it, and remember, didn't a little boy, when you read the Bible, didn't he go after, it's called David and Goliath, go after the giant? And that was after the flood. So there's some interesting things in this. And they give the name of all the demons. Morning Star, his real name was something else. It's all in here and explaining it. I might get some of it wrong, but I got the basic of the fall of man. And that's why we have the problems that we have today. Because the angels taught us about weaponry, they taught us about precious metals, makeup and stuff. So you think women who are redoing their bodies and they sit there and where they wear the makeup and love pretty jewelry. Oh, but I am guilty of this like any other female. And men with war and weaponry. This all comes from these demons, and they taught us we were not supposed to have that knowledge. That knowledge was supposed to be sealed from us, and they gave it to us to destroy God. Yeah, it is. Nemesis, we are making lasagna. A different lasagna. I've already made a fish lasagna, regular lasagna. Okay, I've got to get this pasta out. Now I'm going to have to strain this one. So I'm going to leave you here to make sure you don't get hurt, because I'll probably get hurt. If you hear me scream, you'll know I burnt myself. Okay? I need a strainer for this one. Okay, you're still hot. Bring it over here. I'm running cold water up. That's where it's at. Yeah, that's it. Up at the beginning, he describes heaven and the valleys and stuff. But it talks about the fall of man. It's pretty much at the beginning in the first book. I have two books, the first and second, because I couldn't afford the big Bible. I would have bought the big Bible. I really would have. But I just didn't have the money. But if I ever get the money, I'm going to buy that big Bible because it won't put as much stress on my eyes. Hi, or. So it's up near the beginning when he talks about the fall of man and Enoch. Okay, it's right there. You'll find it right there, Kay. Hi, Willow. Just cooling this pasta off. I really have to cool this pasta off. It's pretty hot. Now, two pastas are together, but I managed to get them separated, and I know they'll cook. Okay. Now, they want it laid a certain way, so I'm going to be running back and forth as you read this, as I read it and do it. You lucky dog. All right. It is, but I want to know how much the large print book is. That's the one I'm looking for. I have the fine print, but I want to pack it up, you know, and read it while I go. So you're going to add 3/4 of the sauce, spread it on. I'd use a nose stick for this, but if you don't, grease it. All right, we got 3/4 there. I'm going to have to do this. All right. Arrange noodles lengthwise, side by side, so as to cover the bottom of the baking dish and overhang the short ends of the dish by 2 inches. Okay. Okay. They want a 2-inch overhang here, okay? Don't say anything to me, that's what they want. So there's going to be an overlap. They said don't worry about the center. They want it side by side. They don't want it any other way. Okay. I would normally overlap it, but they don't want it overlap. They said just side by side. I said, okay, you want side by side? We can do side by side. Now wait a minute. If I get 4 side by side and this is 1 inch, then you need it overlapped. Okay? Don't lie. We're going to overlap them. I'm doing the math on this. And they want the edges 2 inches over the edges. 2 inches. It might not be, but what the heck, I'm doing the best I can. Okay. Or they want two cups of sauce. Okay, that's 1 cup. What cheese grated? Oh. How much? Mm-hmm. I know how they cook. I've seen them. I love it when they give me a measurement and they never follow through with it. Okay, you go back over there. What do you want next? Okay, now we're going to lay this way, leaving 2 inches over the side, approximately 2 inches. Maybe a little more, a little less, but that's pretty much it. Well, my floor is going to get wet, that's okay. At least we see why we need it. Please don't fall to the floor. Okay. Overlap, Sandra. Yeah, overlap. Like they're going to listen to me. Okay, so they have everything overlapped. Didn't I have to tell? Yeah. Okay, and the ricotta. All right. I got my ricotta here. I'm going to get 2 eggs and some salt, and we're going to mix them, and then we're going to pour that mixture right in there. Okay? You know, I am really running out of room. Stay there. pinch of salt in this. Okay. If I say, is she ever organized? Of course not. That's me. Right, they want you to put that together. You do it with a spoon, a whisk, a fork, whatever fits your fancy to do it with. Good God. I just want you to add a little bit of salt and 2 eggs to your ricotta that's been drying. And remember, my salt is kelp and iodized salt mixture, so if you see streaks or something, you don't know what it is. Come on, lift Taffy. Okay. I'm going to cut the ricotta. Told you this is different from any other one that I've made. Well, it makes sense. Not bad. Now, what do you want me to do since we're doing this different from anything I've ever done before? Arrange a single layer of noodles lengthwise. Okay. We might have to do some cutting here. Maybe not. They're not talking about look, I'm going to have to overlay just a little. Okay. You have to admit this is different from anything we've done before. This is why it's great to have cookbooks. You never know somebody else is going to do something different. It looks really nice. All right. Okay. I can't cut this cheese thin, so I grated it. We're going to put a whole layer of this over it. This is the mozzarella. Since I can't cut it, I grated it. You may want a whole pound. You say one thing, it's very cheesy. We did that. All right, we need 1 cup of tomato sauce. I'm all done with this. Well, I'm going to add a little more sauce if you like it or not. That's me. I'm sorry. I like to add more. I tell you what they say, and then I'm going to go and do what I'm going to do. Okay. Adding another cup of that. Lengthways. All right, we're putting another layer lengthways. Now what do you want? All right. I think this is going to boil over. You want 2 cups of meat sauce here. Yeah, I'm looking at the 14 and I'm just saying, is this even going to make it? You know, there's a lot here. Another half. Oh, this is okay. We want another half a cup of your grated cheese. I already gave you the cheese and stuff that you need. Is there any more cheese going on? Okay, what do you want the oven set at? 375. Set your oven at 375. We're getting to that point. One more cheese. Okay. All right, we're going to fold these in. Come on, get off of me. Almost like folding a bed. Oh my goodness. Okay, now that's what it's got to look like so far. Okay, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay, we're gonna have some meat sauce left, but they just said just spread a little. I don't know what her little is, but I could say one thing. It is really a meat sauce. Can you imagine what this is going to taste like? All right, use the rest of your cheese. Just about used it. This has to be done. Sean will die if he doesn't get this. He's going to see it and say, I want it. Okay, we need foil. My foil is not wide enough to cover this up, so I'm going to make 2 long sheets. Put wrong side down. What you're going to do is take these 2 sheets and you're going to poke the long edge about 4 times. That's what it makes it seam and sets it up where it won't seam. Now when you open it, one seam is automatically going to open. You see? We're going to seal this up. I'm sorry these videos are long, but when you get in the kitchen, you know it's going to be at least 1 hour. Everybody knows that. You're going to spend at least 1 hour in the kitchen. All right, I'm putting this on something because I know it's going to spit. Let's see, you're going to fit on this? No. Shoot, I do not have anything that fits underneath this. So I'm going to do the best thing I know how to do. Put 2 cookie sheets like this to make sure it doesn't spill on the bottom shelf. Okay, we're going to overlap. There's nothing I can do. Okay, we just have to wait for that. Okay. I've never heard of it, Nemesis. This is new for me. Hi, Nikki. No, it does not say tinted. But I guess if you wish to spray the foil with some shortening or butter or Pam or whatever you guys use, I don't use it, so that's why I say it like that. Not putting anybody down, I just don't know. You could do that and keep the cheese from sticking. But no, she does not say tinted at all. I have never, ever done lasagna like this. I have. never done lasagna like this. This is a first for me. They say of lasagna, 2 pounds. They say this can feed 15 people. I'm taking a look at it. I said, you think it's feed 15? My sons, they love lasagna. No way is this going to survive for, I mean, that'd be 5 days worth of food for us. And I said, no, nah, it ain't going to work. I could say, nah, it ain't going to work. Now, how long do you want us to cook it? All right, they want us to bake it for 45 minutes. And then we're going to sit there and take the cover off and continue baking for another 20 minutes. But they also say once you do that, you have to sit there and allow it to sit for 20 minutes before you cut it. So we'll see. I've got a mess in my kitchen again. See, aren't you glad you're in my kitchen here? You never get out of washing dishes. If you want to tint it, Nikki, I guess you could, you know, or spray the foil. I don't know. Okay, this is dry. This is get put up. So later this afternoon, those that have joined, you will actually get to see what we're going to be making the following week. But I have told you we will be frying chicken as they come cook with me because people are having trouble. Their chicken is either burnt or raw and they want to know how to get it right, okay? Correct. You have to let it sit, just like cakes and other stuff. Some things you have to let it settle, like meat. They'll tell you to tint the meat, let it sit 20 minutes because those juices are splattering. And if you sit there and cut them, it runs out, things dry out. So a lot of dishes, they actually do have to sit anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes before you can actually sit down and have them. Even quiches have to sit. You know, most people don't think that. I've never heard of that. Ooh. I have never heard of foil that doesn't stick. And my question is what do they do with the foil so it doesn't stick? Reynolds, I'll have to see what they have. Nemesis, no, I don't give out the names of the cookbooks that I use. I'll give you the recipes, but I don't give you the names of them. We're not really allowed to give those names out, like I'm not supposed to give out my telephone number or my real address, some things, because these people have rights to their books and stuff. So in that way, I cannot. So I do. Okay. Oh my God. Really God. So, you know, there are some things that we are limited on, but if I do a recipe, I'll tell you it's mine, and the only thing I request is that you let people know that you did, that I was the one who made it. and created that recipe. Let's see. Wow, this is really heavy. Oh, please fit. Please, please, please. Okay. Uh, 45 minutes. Oh, half hour. 9:30. Very easy to figure out. And also, remember the recipes that I make them more nutritious, so I do change them around in that aspect. So you'll say, wait a minute, I can't find this recipe. It's not the way. It's because I added and changed it around to make it more nutritious. Always remember that. Oh, we will enjoy this one. And the funny thing is that because I didn't have beef, I used lamb. So that's going to be interesting to see how the lamb comes out on it. Like I found out, Bolognese, a lot of people just say it's beef and pork. From what I can gather, my history reading into it, no. They used whatever they could find to make Bolognese. So I've made it with venison. I have made it, what else did I make it with? I think I made it with veal. I've made it with bison. I've used different meats, and they come out with different flavors. So you don't always get that. Yeah, Nikki, there's different ways of doing things. I mean, I don't know if any of you are as old as I am, but in the late 60s, in the early 70s, in Brooklyn, they made what you call a bean pie. But you couldn't get that recipe to save your life. I mean, they clamped down so tight on that recipe, there was no way that we were going to be able to get the recipe. So it finally sort of fell out of favor. It's really delicious, believe it or not. It's really, really good. So I got a cookbook, and I got 2 cookbooks. The ice creams. Oh, I can't wait to get into that one. And this other one. And I was reading it, and it said desserts, and I said, okay, what do they put in desserts here? And lo and behold, the very recipe I had been looking for all these years was right there. And I said, oh, I'm making this. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to show you how to make it. I mean, we could not get this recipe. It was like locked down. And you really just don't see it anymore. So instead of having them make it, when we first got it, it was made by hand instead of factory doing it and everything. But I guess now, companies buy up these recipes and think that, and they'll change it to what they want. But I'm going to actually make that. That is a treat. Because we used to buy little pies about this big per person, and you had to pay like $2. At that time, that was a lot of money. We're talking early 70s, late 60s. Yeah, a bean pie. It's delicious. So I finally got the recipe, and believe you me, I'm going to show you how to make it. It's really good. You wouldn't guess it. Up here you'd say, no, that doesn't work. It does. It really does. Now, I always had to get and buy the mixture that's seasoned for falafels. Now, I can make Tahiti sauce if I buy the paste, but I didn't know what the paste was. Well, I got the recipe for how to start it from scratch, the proper seasonings that go into it, and I can make the pita breads, and I went, yes! Guess what we're going to be having? As soon as I get everything, pita bread, we're going to have falafels, Those are we demolish those as fast as we make them. I mean, I'm eating the little falafel patties as fast as they come out, and my husband said, would you just double up because you're going to eat it before you even get it to the table to us. And I used to have to buy the bread because they wouldn't give the bread recipe out. So buying books, cookbooks, I found it and I said, oh, goody. Now I can just find the inside, and I got everything now. Now I can do that myself, which I'm very happy about. So that's why there's a lot of cookbooks in here. If I'm not over 200, I am definitely over 175 cookbooks. Very old ones, very well-worn ones that I really like. And all of them have information, that help you to be a better cook. Than other ones, where'd you get this recipe from? You ask, what were you thinking? I mean, I have one recipe, and his sandwich is so dry, just like yesterday's was wrong. I'm going to redo that whole recipe. I would not recommend that ragu. It's there, but I gave my opinion. It's so flat that it's below the countertop here. It's just really that flat. And I'm already throwing it together in my head how I want to redo that one. I don't know when I'll do it, but I'm going to mark that recipe up. It's going to be written with my little notes on how to correct it. Now sometimes it's not the chef who creates the recipe. Sometimes it becomes the secretaries who are typing it. Hershey's chocolate cake, I'll look it up, Nemesis, for you. All right, is that the title of it? I have to know that that's the correct title. It's called Hershey's chocolate cake. You're absolutely sure that is the name of it? Yeah, I will find it. All you have to do is give me time and I will come up with it. Like, I have come to the conclusion I'm going to make a 3-bean salad, and I am going to have to buy frozen green beans. I'm going to have to buy wax beans in a can, which I'm not going to be happy about, but just so I can make it for this woman who wants me to do it. Yeah, but is it called Hershey's chocolate cake? I need to know the exact title of the recipe so I can sit there and do it and look it up. Because if you don't do it right, you're not going to be able to find it. This is why it's very important you get these names. Like, I have a pineapple cheesecake I've been looking for. I am 73. Last time I saw it, I was 20-something, so I've been looking for this cheesecake. Everybody gives me a different version of it, and I said, it's a pineapple cheesecake. It came in 11 or a 13-inch springform pan. It was a very large cake. It took all day to make, and you had to do it in stages. That's all you remember? Okay, I'll see what I can do. Hershey's chocolate cake. I bet you I'll find it for you. See, these are recipes that people want to remember. I'll find it, Nemesis. You give me time. Hershey's chocolate cake. It's just like you can't find vanilla pudding. You can find instant vanilla pudding. But to find original recipe for vanilla pudding, it's a whole new ballgame. I found it, but after a lot of research, I found it. Because I don't want to use instant. Okay, Nemesis, that's what we're going to do. Hershey's chocolate cake. I think I remember that title. Sounds very, very familiar. Just keep up on the page, and if I find it, you'll hear about it. Okay. It's all be making 3 bean salad next week for the person who was asking me, did I have a good recipe. I just can't find wax beans, which is really giving me a problem. And I didn't want to use canned, but I'm going to use canned. It's not going to be as good as fresh wax beans, but if you can find wax beans after I give you the recipe and make it, by all means, use it. With fresh, you'll get better flavor. It's not sharp. Yeah, that's sharp. I think I remember that recipe. I really do. You're saying it and I'm thinking about it. I remember my mother's Hershey's chocolate. It's not the liquid. It was actually in the powdered one, on the powdered container. Because we always use it, but it sounds so familiar. I bet you had a beautiful chocolate frosting to it, rich. But you can't say the oil, and that's why they took it off. You want to know why? The amount of butter you put in things, you know? I think it was one of the first recipes that they were using oil in cakes instead of butter. Butter and shortening was the most popular, and I think the oil was the beginning of doing it differently. If I remember correctly. Right. That's what I thought so. I think it was one of the first cakes that was literally made with oil, if I remember correctly. Because my mother always, when she was going to bake, butter was always out in shortening, but she would never put oil out. I'm glad you found it, Nikki. What did they use for the sweetener? I don't remember, since you have it there, Nikki. What was it that they used? Hershey's Perfect chocolate cake. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're making a cake, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. See, this is what cooking channels should be, sharing information and helping each other. A chat, a group. Hey, listen, wherever you can find it. But I'll get it and I'll give the recipe out so that you can, I don't know how you can do it out here. Pure cane sugar, yeah. Yeah, cakes have to have sugar in them. Some sort of sweetener. But I think it was the first cake that used oil, if I remember correctly. And that was so different from anything that anybody thought of at that time. It's just like people my age, a lot of them like all wheat flour, white flour, everything has to be white. They don't like whole grains or anything. And I went totally against everything and said no. I went in a totally different direction. Was in the 80s? Okay. No, we're not ignoring. Oh, I go back further than that. I'm going to look way back. You'll hear from me. I'll spend the day. I'm going to be in my cookbooks anyways because I've got to set up next week's menu. But there will be fried chicken and probably mashed potatoes with it. 3-bean salad, you know, simple things. But the mashed potatoes are not going to be simple. I'm going to go in a different direction, as usual. I guess you guys know that by now. Yeah, I'm sure, Nikki, it has changed. That's why I'm going to go deep looking for this one. A lot of people are taking shortcuts in their cooking. If you're going for an original recipe, you're going to have to do some real digging, which I can do because I'm going to be sitting down most of the day going through recipes and see what I want to make and not make. Listen, I keep cleaning you. Why aren't you coming clean? See, everybody takes a recipe. They want to be unique. So they'll take a recipe and they'll change it. I'll follow recipes, but if it's not nutritious enough, I'm going to swing it in a direction where it's nutritious. That's the difference from trying to put my name on. I'm not putting my name on them, I literally. I want to make it nutritious to show you that you can do this and be healthier. That's my whole thing. Okay. What did you do to my SOS? In that box. Okay. I'm going to look for the original. Like, I wanted to know where bolognese came from. And could I use different meats and stuff? And I had to go back. You have to go back and look it up to get an idea. Some of these foods that we like are literally things that give us a warm feeling at home, warm memories of when our mother did it, you know. It brings back warm memories and gives us a security. I was always encouraged to move forward in my cooking because sometimes I want something very, very simple. Sometimes just a simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich with milk makes me very happy. Hershey's old-fashioned chocolate cake. I will look it up. Except I'm going to add one word more to that to make sure I get it. Because it's over 50 years, there should be no patent on it, so we can pretty much swing it and look for it. Oh God, my heart. You know, I have that ragu. I'm thinking about mincing onions and using the ragu on Frank's, just to be different. Because I have some left over. I didn't use everything. Wait, what am I going to do with this? I got to grab my glasses. Do you know that I've had these Rubbermaid since the 1970s, and we are in 2026, and they're still good. Rubbermaid was very good. The ones of today are so flimsy that you buy from other companies. That's a size 7. Yeah, they're getting old. You can see that they're getting old, but it's great. Rubbermaid. It is. Tupperware? I have not had Tupperware in so long. I don't know if my mother used Tupperware. I know my girlfriend, I don't know if this cheese even exists anymore. Velveeta? I don't even know if it's still around. My girlfriend used to love to make macaroni and cheese, and I said, oh, really? But look at me, I use champagne. So, I mean, I guess you can go in any direction. It is, Nikki? Okay. I did not know Tupperware was still around. I remember when you didn't have metal bowls, everything was ceramic and glazed. Yes, help your mother, Nikki. But I will find Nemesis that Hershey's original chocolate cake. you can see some of these foods aren't so much, uh, old as they are a comfort food for people. What in the name? Oh, I'm going to talk to my son's more elbow grease. That was not there. Now I know what happened to my SOS. Let's see where they put it. Yeah, what do you say? Let's see. Sanitation, it's 9 o'clock. They should have come by now. Always clean your mess up. Be surprised. You can keep your kitchen going as long as it's neat. If you have a filthy kitchen, chances of you having fires and stuff are a real high possibility, because that grease sits there, and sooner or later it builds up enough, you'll have a fire. Okay, let's see. I have 18 minutes. Then we'll take that off and let it cook a little more. Wait a minute, I need this. Oh yeah, that's right. It's still summertime. You guys haven't started school. Oh shoot. Battery time. I forgot. Hi, Snap. I knew I was gonna run out of energy. I just thought I'd get it done before then. Okay. We're just waiting for the final parts of it. That's it, and we'll see how it comes out. That does smell like it's spilling, but that's okay. I expect it to. They wanted a 15-inch, and I didn't have a 15-inch. The biggest they had was 14 by 10, not 10 by 15. So, how much spilling over? Nothing yet. I'm doing good. I didn't believe it. Okay, let's get these up. I'm pretty much done. That is just about it. Yeah, well, the oil, I think, would keep it from sticking. See? So, it was a new way of doing things. Big Red, why don't you leave the channel and go have a nice day, okay? Because I know it'll probably kill you. So you don't mind if I maybe. I remember the chocolate cake was very unique from anything else that we were accustomed to doing. But God, I had forgotten about that cake, especially when I found out I was allergic to chocolate. And I actually did it to myself, I could say. Now, 12 minutes, we'll take the covering off, and they'll want us and baking until the crust gets crusty, the edging, and that will be another 20 minutes. But remember, you have to let this rest for 30 minutes or up to 3 hours before you cut and serve. All right? I think this can be so good. I'm sorry. Now, crepe lasagna. I am not up to doing that right now. We'll do that another day. Cheese. Manicotti crepes. Yeah, we did that. Got some awful lot of ingredients. But I was reading the recipe for beet and spinach cannelloni. 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 I know how to make gnocchi. I have made gnocchi. One of my favorite dishes as well is also baked stuffed shells. Oh, I'll do it. When I have chocolate, I've got to have it this far apart before I can have it again. I just had chocolate chip cookies, so I might have to wait 1.5 years before I can have a cake. So, see, I have to spread it out. I am doing well. Mahis SARS? I think that's it. I think I got that right. Well, we have about 8 more minutes. Okay, baked stuffed shells is another recipe, almost like a cream chip beef over biscuits that I can go bananas over. I will eat myself till I am so stuffed I cannot get up. Okay. Yeah, I made this sauce, I think. Yeah, it was a good tomato sauce. Okay, we could try yours, Portuguese, and be different. If oxtail wasn't so expensive, I would make this in the auto. Braised oxtail with rigatoni. Doesn't that sound good? You're saying, she reads these. Yes, I do. Vermigli with sausage, tomato sauce are twins in Italy, and that is what the short pasta shape with its intertwined strands resemble. Can't find, I suggest another short chunky shape, like peanut or shells. Okay, let's see. For the sausage, don't lose that page then, you need it. So about, yeah, I think it's Italian, that's no problem. I don't know if I can find pickled cherry peppers. That would be interesting. Vermigli with sausage and tomato sauce. Doesn't that sound good? That should be a nice dish next week. I'm barely getting done with this one. I'm back in the book again. See, I'm very, very bad. Okay. Let me get out of this book. I'll put it here. And I will continue reading and find 100 recipes I'd like to make next week and not have time for any of them. No, what I did when my husband was sick, after that point I didn't have any problem, but he was so sick and I was on call morning, noon, and even when I slept because he was on a sleep apnea machine, so when it beep beep, if he moved or something or he pulled it off because he didn't like it, I would be up right away. And when his hands, he couldn't handle it, I was having to feed him, but I wasn't eating. So everything I was doing was living off coffee. I could drink 20 cups a day and I was fine. And I was like this for over a year running. I was just like I was never stopping. And then one night, I told my husband, and he was very sick. He got our sons to get him over to me to see what was going on with me. I told Tony, I don't think I'm going to be alive by morning. I could feel my heart, just felt like it was going to come out of my chest. And I told him, I think I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, you know. And he's the one sick, and I've been the one running around not eating and everything else. And he took my blood pressure. He did not tell me what it was, but his eyes bulged. And he stayed up all night with me. He called the doctor early in the morning. I was a walk-in. They took my pressure, and he wouldn't tell me the top number. He only told me the bottom number was over 200. And so he put me on blood pressure medication, and I came home. I hated that thing. I didn't feel good. I was still drinking coffee. And I started swelling up because my body was reacting to it. So I went back to the doctor a week later with like 20 pounds of extra fluid on me. None of my clothes were fitting. I was wearing my husband's shirts and safety pinning myself to my skirts. Oh, okay. Thank you, Nemesis. I'll look that up. And what happened to me, I'll look for those in the store. And what happened was, I went to him and he said, I'm reacting, so he gave me water pills. I think I was on this stuff for maybe 6 to 8 months, and that was it. And one day, my pressure was 120 over 80, and I said, that's high, because I usually roll 90 over 60. You know, I run very low blood pressure. So, one day, I decided, moi, did not want any coffee. My husband had died at that point. I'd gone and took care of everything. And I just woke up and I said, I don't want any coffee. I don't want any tea. I don't want any of that. Well, I took my medicine and I had breakfast. I did what I was supposed to do. I want you to know, less than 30 minutes after I took that, I fell out. I fell out. My sons were already working and out of the house, so I didn't have to worry. I said, God, I am really, really tired. How I managed to get from this kitchen, and I barely made it to the settee, which is an old term for couch in the living room. And I sat down. Next thing I know is I fall out. I cannot pick my hand up. I can't move my head. I can't do anything. It's like I'm there, but I have no control. There's no energy in my body. Well, by the end of the day, I started getting a little bit of energy, and I pulled myself up, and I managed to make it to the kitchen. I made myself a sandwich, and I did not walk up the stairs. I crawled up the stairs to get to my bed. I woke up the next morning. Man, I felt great. I said, I want some coffee this morning. So I had coffee. I was fine, took my medicine, had breakfast. I was fine, sipped all day long, right? The next day, I didn't have any coffee. I didn't have time to have coffee. I barely had time to have a glass of milk and medication, and that was it. I went out, started washing clothes. I came in. I was holding on to the chairs in the kitchen to hold my balance. I barely made it to the dining room table. I got the chair out, and I fell over into the chair. I was there all day long. I could not move, and I could not get up. I could not do anything. Okay. So finally, when evening came, and I woke up enough where I could crawl up the stairs, and I said, what is going on with me? And I'm laying down, and on my bed. I finally made it to my bed. I don't even pull the covers down. I just lay on top of them, just glad to be up there. And I thought, and I said, what didn't you have today? I said, I didn't have coffee today. But I had coffee yesterday, and I was fine. So I decided I'd have coffee. And I spun around all day long with no problem. So I checked out what was coffee high in. Said caffeine. And I said, what foods are high in caffeine? He gave me a whole list. Power drinks, sodas. That's why I want to make my own sodas. Tea, coffee, chocolates, power drinks. What else? There was something else, but I don't even know what that is, so I don't have to worry about it. So I called my heart doctor. I didn't call my primary. I called my heart doctor. And they got him on. I said, something's very wrong with me, and I don't know what's wrong. And I told him what happened. I said, I didn't have coffee. I told him what had happened during the week and the days I had the coffee. I had this problem. And he said, well, do you drink coffee a lot anymore? I said, no, I don't want it. He said, I want you to come cut your medicine in half. And then he said, no, come off all medications. I want you, because you're not having coffee or tea, I want you to sit there and take your blood pressure every day. Call me back in 7 days. I called him back in 7 days. I didn't have any coffee or anything on the list with caffeine. And I was fine, so that's why I don't have coffee and sodas and things like that. I sort of cut the limit off on that. We got 1 minute to go. And then we're going to have to take it out. And so I didn't have coffee. Then I tried mushroom coffee. My blood pressure went back up over 200. My doctor was going to put me back on medication, my primary. And I'm sitting there saying, what did I do different that, to cause my pressure to go up? I've stayed off this, and this, and this, and, I'm going down the whole list. And I called because the only new thing I had added to my diet was mushroom coffee. And I called it. Oh, you did leak. I knew it. Pull both of you out at the same time. Ouch. Come on, come on. Don't worry, I don't want to drop it. All right, that's got to cook another 20 minutes. Just like that. So what happened was, I called them about mushroom coffee. They told me those are real coffee beans. We dehydrate the mushrooms and then we spray them with the mushrooms. And then I said, I can't have this. This is caffeine. I'm allergic to caffeine. So I stopped. But then I got Tocino, which is made. So I checked out caffeine. What is chicory root and what does it do? Chicory root lowers your blood pressure and lowers your heart rate, so it's quiet. I said, so this is why I got into Tocino coffee. And this is why I drink it, but it's actually because I overshot my coffee 20 cups a day and this went on for a good year and a half. So my body is trigger happy when it gets coffee because it has caffeine in it, so I have to be very careful, and that's what happened to me. Now listen, this will be ready in 20 minutes, and then after that we have to wait another 20 minutes before we can cut it. Am I going to have time to eat? Oh, I'm going to really be cutting this. I'm going to have to let you guys go now, all right? All right, so listen, all of you take care. God bless, and I will see you later today, and we'll find out if you had joined. You'll see what's coming up next week. Okay, bye-bye.